Welcome to Harvesting Clouds, where we take a practical approach to learning and leveraging clouds.
In this video, we will be looking at the Geo Replication and disaster recovery aspect of the storage account. To begin, let's talk about Geo Replication and how it can help us with disaster recovery, that is recovery from a disaster level event and providing us with business continuity. So over here, what I have a storage account that is sitting in the US East region. This is primarily where I deployed this particular storage account. Now I'll set this up with globally redundant storage type or read accessible globally redundant storage, that is GRS or ra-grs, so that I can get the geo replication feature. This feature is not available in locally redundant storage or zone redundant storage. You need at least GRS or ra-grs, that is globally redundant storage or read accessible globally redundant storage. Now, once you have that type of a storage account, even if you deploy it in one region, for example, you deploy it in the US East region, it will get replicated to a secondary region. For example, the US East region storage account, it will get replicated to US West region storage account. So there will always be a copy of this storage account in the US West region. So now what happens? Let's say there is a power failure at Microsoft data center in the US East region. It's highly unlikely, but there could be a disaster level event. So this whole region will go down. Now your users who were accessing this storage account, they will no longer have access to this. So you can, in such a scenario, perform a failover. What failover is, instead of your users pointing to this storage account, the copy in the US West region, that will become primary. So now your end users, they will not even know that the failover has occurred. This copy becomes primary, and when your end users will try to connect to this storage account, they are actually connecting to the one in the US West location. There may be small latency, there may be small performance lag, but your data will be there. Your business will be able to continue working with very minor loss of data. So let's jump into the Azure portal and see how this looks like in a practical way. Here I'm logged into the Azure portal. To start, I'll navigate to my storage account. This is the storage account on which I'll be configuring the geo replication and I'll be triggering the failover. So first things first, notice that the location of this particular storage account is East US. Now this is the location where this storage account is located. This is the geographical location. Microsoft's data center in this East US location is where the storage account is physically deployed. Now the replication is locally redundant storage. I cannot configure geo replication on a locally redundant storage. Locally redundant storage means there will be 3 copies of this storage account in the same region, in the East US data center. Now, to configure the geo replication, the option is available under settings. It's the second option just below the access keys. Click on this option and the message at the top will confirm what we have been discussing. The geo replication is available only for geo redundant, that is your GRS storage, or read-only geo redundant storage, ra-grs storage accounts. We need to update this. To do that, to upgrade my storage account from LRS to GRS, I need to go into its configuration. I can do that by clicking on the configuration. Under the replication, I have the 3 options. So I will select geo redundant storage and then hit save. This is the minimum requirement. ra-grs is more costly since it provides you with additional features. Your data, which is geographically replicated to a different storage or different location, that is read accessible in ra-grs. With GRS, your data is copied, but that copy in the secondary region is not read accessible. So now we have configured this. We have set the replication to geo redundant storage. If I go back, I'll still not be able to perform the failover. Why is that? It takes some time for the initial copy or initial replication to happen. So now at least I have started seeing that there are two locations. East US is the primary, West US is the secondary. There are by default pairs of the geographical locations that Microsoft has defined. And if you deploy your resources, that is your storage account, in one location, it will automatically be replicated to the secondary location. For East US, that pair is West US. So as you can see from the message in the bottom, it does say that the failover cannot be initiated right now since the replication is still in progress. We just now enable the replication. We just now change it from locally redundant storage to geographically redundant storage. Whatever data is there on the storage account that needs to be replicated over to the secondary location, that is in the West US. Once a good copy is available in the West US, that is when you can start triggering the failover. So we'll wait for some time. Once I come back, this replication will be complete and we'll proceed with the next steps. Alright, after a few minutes, the initial replication has completed, and now instead of that message, I can see this prepare for failover button. What that means is the full copy of the Azure Storage account from East US location has been copied to West US location. Now there exists a complete copy in West US location, which we can start using as primary by clicking on this prepare for failover button. At the time of this recording, this feature was in preview. If you're watching this in few days from now, this feature will be out of preview. All the concepts, they will still hold true. So let's say something has occurred in the East US location, in this particular location, and you are no longer able to access your storage account. You know that there is an outage in the Microsoft data center due to some circumstances that are out of anybody's control. So now what you can do is, since you have this geo replication occurring, because you selected geo redundant storage, you can essentially fail this over. Your end users, they will not know any difference. They will still be connecting to this particular storage account using the keys that they will have or shared access signatures that they already have. Only thing will occur is that the copy in the secondary location in West US location, that will become primary. So let's see how the failover process looks like. To get started, click on this button for prepare for failover. It will give you this message. When did the last sync occur? Last sync occur on this date at this particular time. After that time, you may lose some data. And then to trigger the failover, you need to type yes and click on the button for failover. So it says that the failover is in progress. Account failover is happening right now. What it is doing is, it is converting the storage account into the secondary location. Basically, the secondary location will become primary. The location of the storage account will not only be switched to West US, the storage account type will also be switched. It will become locally redundant storage. How the failback process will look like, we'll talk about that in a short while. I'll pause the video right here. I'll come back once this process for failing over is finished. Alright, so after a few minutes, the failover has completed. As you can see from the message and the notifications, the failover is successful. What this means is, now there is only one location, that is West US, and that has become the primary location. The geo replication is no longer available. Why? Because as we discussed earlier, during a failover process, the secondary location becomes primary, as well as the replication type of the storage account, it's converted back to locally redundant storage. So now, even if I go to the overview page, I'll see that the location of this particular storage account now is West US. For the end users, they will keep on connecting to this storage account using the storage account name, using its access keys. If they are using shared access signatures, those will keep on working. So for end user, nothing has happened. But you have been able to change your primary geographical region to a secondary geographical region. if there has been some service disruption in East US, you are no longer affected by that service disruption since now you are operating primarily out of West US location. You have successfully finished the disaster recovery and you have achieved business continuity. Now let's go back to the Geo Replication settings, and let's say whatever service disruption happened, whatever caused that service disruption, that event has been taken care of, and now the service is back up. After a few days, now this can be moved back to the East US location. Why you would want to do that? Let's say you are physically located in East US location and you want lower latency. Whatever can boost the performance, you want that to happen in your environment. So if you are physically located in East US location, you want this particular storage account to also exist in East US location for longer run, for smoother operations, for higher efficiency and performance. So that process is called the failback process. Going over was the failover process. Now coming back will be called as failback process. We're not going to perform it. We are only going to discuss it since the process is exactly the same. What you do is you navigate to the configurations, flip it back to geo redundant. East US will be the secondary region that will be selected and replication will start occurring. You will start seeing the secondary location listed here as East US. Once the replication will be done, you will start seeing that particular button and you will trigger the button to trigger the failover. But essentially what you are doing is you are failing it back to the original region from where we started. That is the East US location. This is generally how a disaster recovery looks like. You go from your primary location to the secondary location, thereby achieving business continuity. If you have any doubts, if you think any part is not clear, post in the comments below and I'll try to answer or do a subsequent video based on how many questions I get. If you like the content, hit that like button. Do hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified of the latest content. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.